Question: what is independence? Voila, I got you there. I know you would have said independence is freedom. But how about if I said independence has nothing to do with freedom? The question therefore would be, what is independence? Independence is acceptance of responsibility for oneself. In other words, you were saying, I'm done with your handout. Thank you for your loans. I don't need your grant anymore. I don't need your leadership anymore. I cannot take full responsibility for myself. Independence is also saying that I have grown to a point where I can now manage available resources in a way and manner that it brings growth to me as an entity. You cannot therefore say that Nigeria is truly independent when we still rely on the Paris loan for governance, the ADB loan for agricultural infrastructure, the Chinese loan to construct railways. We rely on all of the US aids to cure malaria. How do you say you are independent of a system that you still go back to the same captor to apply for loan? The question would be, do we really need all of these loans? Answer is clearly no. So, but why do we take these loans? We take these loans because we have not been able to properly manage our resources in a way that it has brought development and progress to us as a nation. We claim to be independent because we are free from our captors. Physically, we are no more under any bondage or colonial master. We have gradually entered into other forms of slavery. By taking loans and taking grants and taking aids, we are entering into what I call economic slavery. Here's the big deal that will shock you. In the days of the colonial master, we were taken into slavery against our wish, and there was a price tag to every slave. But today, the reverse is the case. We are willfully, with our eyes open, entering into other forms of slavery. Economic slavery, for instance, is terrible. There's a common word right now. You must have heard about the word. It's called japa. What does japa mean? It means that people are massively migrating from Nigeria in search of a greener pasture. But think about it from a different perspective. It is commonly said that the youth of this nation are the leaders of tomorrow. Now, if you have the youth of this nation as the leaders of tomorrow, and the same youths of this nation are massively migrating out of this nation, it simply means that the future of this nation are currently in migration from this. These are intellects, young minds, able-bodied people migrating from the country, jackpying from the country. And so what does that mean? We are entering into a state of economic slavery, void of competence, leadership, and future to sustain the nation. You cannot talk about national development without talking about human capital development. And just the other day on the radio, I heard the presenter quoting our president saying on the floor of the UN General Assembly that education is the bedrock of national development. You can imagine the irony of somebody saying that education is the bedrock of national development. I'm saying this to say that there can never be any national development in the absence of human capital development. And where is the source of human capital development? It is in the school, the educational sector. And you agree with me that today, for about 7 months plus, the educational system of this nation has been under lock and keys. Do you want to blame people when they japa? No. They have to fend for themselves. They have to look for means to make life meaningful for themselves. What is human capital development? Human capital development is the ability to find competent, qualified, and sound minds to rule, to govern, and to lead. But in the absence of this, what do you have? You have a complete breakdown of a nation. The degree of decadence in our human capital development is prevalent and visible in the policies of government and in the behavior of our government officials. For example, when they are sick, they go to the hospitals in the UK. When they want to construct durable roads and bridges, they bring them in from Germany. When they want to construct our railways, they bring them in from China. When they want to go for holidays and vacation, they go to the United States. When they need money for governance, they take loan from Paris. But the most annoying one is the fact that we cultivate potatoes potatoes in Plateau State and we transport them to the fast food restaurants on the high street of Lagos. And when these potatoes are fried, they are called French fries. Why not call them Plateau fries? This is how much we have been enslaved mentally that we have lost our own identity. This decadence is brought about by the quality and form of education they give to us. And you know how they call it? They call it free education. And that free education is free of knowledge. And that's why they can't even trust us with their lives when they are sick. They can't trust us with the roads when we construct them. They can't trust us with anything. They can't trust us with anything. This problem is going to continue because more people will jackpot us. It doesn't seem like there's a glimpse of hope, as it were. To bring this home politically, whether you like it or you don't like it, policies and the governance has a direct impact on your life. So how do we correct this? It is by determining the quality of leaders we elect into office. And this time around is the time for us to do that. Whether you are political or apolitical, the political consequences is brought to bear on everybody equally. And sometimes those of us who are apolitical are most receptive of these problems. I want you to look at it from this perspective. Here is a 62-year-old man who cannot dress his bed. A 62-year-old man who cannot fend and provide basic amenities for his children. A 62-year-old who cannot defend his wives and daughters. Right before him, his wives and daughters are taken into captivity, being raped and held in bondage, and cannot bring them back. A 62-year-old man who cannot manage resources in a way that brings back peace and unity for his own household. And yet you say, happy independence. Independence what? From who and from what? You were once bought at a price into slavery, but now you willingly sell yourself for free to be slaves in another man's country, simply because we have not been able to take responsibility to fend for ourselves, and we haven't been able to manage our resources. To bring this home, whether you like it or not, the quality of politicians we have in governance determine our wellness, our well-being as a nation. Why not take a stand this time around and say, 2023, we will decide the quality of leaders that will lead us with our vote and our PVC. The worst thing that you can do is to sit at home and not to vote. Your not voting is a vote cast for the wrong leader. When you stay at home and you do not vote, you have just casted a vote for the wrong leader. And guess what? The policies and decisions of that wrong leader, you cannot be void of it. Why not take a stand this time around and say, I will decide who leads me. This time we will not vote in party lines, in religious affiliation, tribal. We are going to vote for competence. Competence. We are going to vote for vibrancy. We are going to vote for youthfulness. I challenge you on this Independence Day. Think about taking responsibility not just for yourself, but for your nation. And doing what is right for your nation, what is right. Cast your vote for the right person and don't sell your vote to the wrong person. If we sold our vote, we'll bear the consequences. If we cast our vote rightly, we'll enjoy the dividends of democracy. My name again is Pastor Harvey, and I'd love to wish you a very happy Responsibility Day as against the independence that you have always known. Shalom. See you. God bless you. Ciao.